Well, welcome back, everyone. I am your host, Dr. Christopher Holmes. And what is this? You know what it is. This is the Black Doctors Talk podcast. Well, I am not here to disappoint you ever. I'm here with another phenomenal guest, and I am here with the amazing Dr. Adrian Allen. Now, there's a wealth of experience that she is going to share with you. I can't even do it justice in the intro. So I'm simply going to say that she is an educator, a leader. She is an advocate for relations, and she's also helping small businesses, y'all, be successful. She's got a lot to talk about. We're going to try to get it all in a single time, and I want you all to listen intently because she's going to drop not gems, she's dropping diamonds for free. Thank you guys for joining. Dr. Allen, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Well, listen, let's go ahead and start. Let's jump right in. Where does this journey all begin for you?
I think it started, especially higher education, it's just working with people in general. We don't think sometimes that everybody doesn't relate to information the same way until you start working with people and you think that, did you understand? Mm-hmm. The assumption is we say something and everybody gets it. Yeah. So the communication process, that's where it started. And I had this epiphany. Okay, I've always been a person that had to explain and make it in different ways. So I felt if I know what I know now, could take it back to the grade school or to other people, it may be a simpler process. We learn differently and we retain differently. So that's where it started and it grew from there.
So how early did that seed get planted?
I can remember grade school. I don't think now that they test your IQ. They did back when I was in elementary school. So I always was the teacher's helper, and I always did help explain things, especially with math. I was more the quantitative side. So that kind of went all the way through school. Yeah. So from that perspective, I didn't pursue anything. And then when I got into the workforce, the same thing. So then me and all my friends decided, go back to college. And that didn't stop. Yeah. So here we are.
You know, it's just always interesting because everybody has a different story of how they got led into the doctorate. Sometimes it's very motivational, sometimes because they really want to go and make a difference. But merging this combination of passion and purpose together always makes for a beautiful story as it relates to getting the doctorate and what people are doing with it currently. So think about what you're currently doing. And we talked earlier about this full circle moment for you being at Shaw University. Why is the work that you're doing currently at Shaw so important?
It's a different type of relationship to come back to your alma mater. Now, I've been working with adults, remember that, in higher ed, from undergrad all the way through to doctoral programs, but they come back and get into a traditional environment and not have to draw on experiences like a job. I always tell everybody, I've always said, when you think about a giant process, we're talking organizations and all these other things, and you have work experiences. They have their experiences. So I have to break it back a little differently. And what kind of experience do you have? And reconsider. So creating more practical applications, promising things. Let's get through the foundation and I can promise you we're going to play a game and creating things a little differently and making that connection work and tying it back to real life. So that has been the difference. It's been fun, but it's been a challenge. The latest goal is programmatic. They cannot connect the dots to every class. So I found myself calling out, you're going to see this, you should have seen this in this class. So the background of having to been in other positions and taught a lot of different classes, it makes it more rewarding when they start thinking, I think I can do this.
Now, when you think about yourself as an educator and having done it for so long, sometimes it reveals things that you didn't know to help you grow professionally. So what have you learned about yourself as an educator?
That I try to learn something every single class from every single person.
Yeah. I think that's
I'm always in a learning mode.
Yeah, we always think we're
always in a learning mode, and
we're teaching, but we you'll be surprised how much you learn from students.
And I always try to, we may say sandwiching, but one of my adult learners found a new philosophy in one of their workshops in a company that he worked for. And it's been, if you ever take a negative, you have to carry 3 positives. And in education, we call it sandwiching, but you have to have positive reinforcement. You can't always break somebody down without telling them all the great things they do. And we do that sometimes, but we negate the fact that people who are always doing great work don't need some praise too.
Yeah.
So always thinking, what are you doing good?
Yeah.
And I always tell them at the beginning, you have to learn you were born into. So take advantage on the things you know and capitalize on it, and perhaps teach me a couple things too.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you think about teaching or educating students, what do you think should be one of the biggest or the most important things that we focus on as educators?
Reality. I say that every single time. Reality and perception. We cannot tell them what we want them to do all the time. We have to ask them, get better for you. What's your style? What can I do to make it easier for you? Of course, we have the theory and we know this, but what can make it better? Maybe the first couple of weeks of class, I get all the different learning styles in and kind of incorporate a lot of different things. My perception is my reality until I know differently. And there's always more than one way to be right, but there are a lot of more ways to be wrong. Listen to what they're saying. And if they believe it and it's been right in their community, that's all they've known, it's going to always be right for them. You have to undo that behavior to redo another. So be open.
Yeah. How difficult is that for those in higher ed? I mean, this is what we're currently trying to strive, right? But this is a big learning shift for a lot of professors, right? We have been teaching our way for so long, and now to have to consider our students and educate them in ways that are real for them and that they make connections to may bring about a little bit of resistance. So
it does bring
that.
It does bring resistance, and everybody's not going to get it. Everybody's not going to do it, but you have to shift the focus from them as a student, as them as a customer. They pay for a service, and that service has to be met. Are you going to be a quality provider, or are you going to be a dictator? You can't make them take your service. They can leave. Yeah. So we think of it from that perspective. If I don't like the way you clean my car, I'm not coming back. Or what you're going to do is ask me, how can I do it better? What is wrong? And we fix it.
Wow. Wow. I love it. I love that. I wish some of my professors would have asked me how could they could serve me, because Jesus, I was struggling. I was struggling in some of those classes.
Yeah, and then you can't always say, well, I'm going to quiz you and I'm going to see. And I tell them up front, if you don't talk back to me, I'm going to give you a quiz. I'm going to assess where you are at any given time. Yeah. I may not count it as a lot, but I need to know where you are. Yeah. If everybody missed this, it's probably me. I didn't figure out the right way to get it to you, but you have to read. But we will get it together. We do have to make this shift.
Yeah. Various forms of assessment. For all you professors out there, listen, various forms of assessment. Now, if you have to give the quiz, you have to give it because you want to know where they are, but you want to bring in as much data as possible. And that may not be in the form of a 10-question multiple choice test. I told y'all these are diamonds she's dropping. This is free information. This is Dr. Allen's helping here. Let me ask you this. And you've been in this game for so long. I want you to think about the inaugural professor when you first started teaching higher ed, and think about where you are now, dean, in leadership, working, making a difference. What would the you of today tell that younger version of yourself?
Ask questions and don't just take their answer. Go with your gut. In business, we say that gut feeling is everything. That's the difference between $1 and $1 million, right? Yeah. What I say, because I'm at my alma mater, I really remember when I was here and the things that were ineffective. If you just monotone, and you have to do a little bit better, but also ask questions. You don't have to reinvent it, but you can get their take and your take, and you can merge it.
Yeah.
Benchmark yourself. What happened this time, and what can you do better next time? All feedback is good feedback. Even if you don't think it's you, they gave it to you was negative, then that's their perception. If that's how they see it, then perhaps somebody else see it that way. We're not going to be as critical on ourselves as others are. Then sometimes you're overly critical.
Yeah.
But take it and think about it. And always, everybody wants to be number one, the best. My goal is not to be the best. My goal is to get better and better every time. Best is a fleeting moment. It's a point in time. Nobody can make me not get better over time.
Yeah.
Then I can overtake the best at some point.
Yeah. You know, it's not about being the best, it's about being the best version of you.
Right.
And that's not comparative towards anyone else. That's internal. That's being self-reflective. And I think that's a lesson right there within itself. Just challenge to be the best version of you that you can be every day. Like you said, you seek to learn something new every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
So let's talk a little bit about what led you into, well, not like what led you in, some things you've done before you went into higher ed full time. So let's talk about that prior life.
Oh, prior life. Let's see. Well, I'll say something that I worked in, something people don't know about me. I was a meter reader, but I was the first Black meter reader that they had as a woman in Raleigh. So that was something, but I was really good at it. Anything with numbers and all this great stuff, and primarily because he couldn't pass the test. So it's a challenge, right? I'm not competitive unless you throw down the challenge. And I'm like, okay, if it's something academic, I'll go with that. Anything else, I don't want to sweat, right? So I did that, and then I came to the office, and it was a different shift because when you're in the field, you know what people are going through, you know what places are, you know how to read these and do all this great stuff. You say, no, you teach them different things. You can't think that way. And some of these things are little mistakes. You probably can just figure it out when you know it. Then I started into banking and healthcare and all those great things, and still they're numbers and people. And even come into academics, I got a second master's in healthcare, public health. Taking that part of the stats, you know, even though you have all these great numbers, you want to figure it out by hand. And one professor said, but yeah, you didn't round down. I said, no, these are people. We got to round up. You round down too early, you're going to count yourself out of funds. Then think about it that way, but you're the professor.
Right. Absolutely.
It wasn't we didn't think about it, we forgot. But anything you deal with people and funds, if you round down a third or 0.4, that means that if you have 1,000 people, you just leave money on the table. You can't afford to do that.
Yeah.
So all of those things led up to, well, you know what, we got to continue to learn and teach. A lot of people, it's not because they can't do it, they just don't have the opportunity to come back and learn something else. It's not as easy, and you don't get to interact with people as much. So if you have the opportunity to do it, do it. And then sometimes you just may have a conversation. People say, I didn't think about it that way. I said, but anything you learn big, you got to narrow it back down and make it relevant to you.
Yeah. So it started the journey, and then you went on, embarked on the doctorate journey. You just didn't start it, you finished it.
And I finished it.
That's important for a lot of people. You have to finish it because there is work to be done by finishing. So ultimately, what led you across the finish line?
What led me across the finish line was first generation graduate in all counts. My alma mater was there all the way. Trust me when I said I finished my undergrad year and I started right back into a program with the graduate program, and one school said that they didn't have enough to start a cohort. So one of my other friends got all, and then when I finished grad school, Shaw gave me my first teaching job. They want somebody to teach accounting, and I said no, but I ended up doing it. And then one of my professors here said, I found a program for us to do our doctorate. And I said, did you vet it? He said, yeah. I said, we're on it. And it's been all the way around, full circle.
Wow.
My I don't say bucket list. My life list was to come back and teach for my alma mater and bring some of this information back.
Wow. Wow. I think that's a movie somewhere. The Shaw. We'll call it the Shaw effect.
Yeah, I guess it's the first time I probably told somebody all those steps, but that's how it happened.
Wow.
It really is.
Wow. What did you learn about yourself on that journey?
Endurance. Rely on what you know. When you need it, it will come back. I had to teach myself a class that I didn't get all the foundation, but when I needed it, I could do it. I had to learn another class and a grad class. Grad school, don't take any prisoners. If you know it, you don't. It's practical. So you don't have it, you're going to learn it while you're getting it. They don't care. They keep it moving. So endurance.
Yeah.
So you know your levels. You keep going. But what you do know is that if you can do it, you can help somebody else through it. I learned a lot of things. Sometimes when people have 10 excuses, I really understand all of them could be legitimate.
Mm-hmm.
You experience them. But I find out, especially with people working on their masters or their doctorate, don't forget you have a family. Time management is key. You don't leave them behind. You won't have them at the end.
Yeah.
You have to work through it, and you have to learn how to bring them into your life, because you get so busy worrying about work and school that your family will get pushed to the side because you think they're in the house with me. They're in the house, but you're not a fruitful part of their lives. So you have to make sure you incorporate them first and manage the other parts around your family so you can have them.
Wow. Oh, now that was some seeds. I needed that when I started my program. Because for me, it was an adjustment, because when I started, I didn't have a family. When I finished, I had a wife and 2 whole kids. And I was struggling to find the balance because I was so close. I just wanted to finish. And so I did have times where I felt like I had pushed my family to the side, and I was focused primarily on just a degree. But luckily, they gave me some grace and they stayed in the fight with me. And they forgave me for my wrongdoing. So I appreciate them. But that is powerful information, because a lot of people do have families when they start. And that support of your family is necessary, because you can't do it without them.
You can't do it without them. You need that support, but they need you too. So you just can't say, oh, it's happening, or I'm still working and all that great stuff. Yeah, but that's not everything.
Yeah. Who would you say has had a significant impact on you in your career?
I would say my mother. I think at some point she shifted to being a friend. Because even to this day, we have this thing. I said, I'll always say, I have the blogs, because when you're at school and you're working, you just can't even call it anything. You don't know if you're tired or you're sick or anything. Life does not stop because you got all these things going on. You keep moving. And I'll call her sometimes and I just say, I got a blog. And she'll say something really crazy, make me laugh. Even if I call her right now, she'll say something crazy. And I'll just laugh and move on. So I learned to be awesome every day. I wake up every morning. How you doing? I'm awesome. And anybody knows me, she'll say she's awesome every day. I could be feeling horrible, but I'm gonna wake up and be awesome every day because
Yep. I love it. You can't say enough about moms. I'm not even gonna go down that rabbit hole, but I'm just saying moms are amazing.
Oh, yeah, she did a lot of things. If I was out of town for a month, I'm in class, my whole kitchen would be filled with generic foods. And I'm like, what is all of this? We don't even eat this stuff. Some things we eat, some we didn't. She said, okay, I'm just gonna take it home when I go. I said, okay, you spend all your budget on food, you're gonna carry it home. She said, yeah. So you gotta take the good things, but I can look back and laugh on a lot of things that she did. So
oh my God, I love it.
Your mom will hold it together.
Yeah, and you know what? Because that's what they do well. They pull it together, even pull you together sometimes.
That's right. She called me Dr. Adrian for a long time. The first one to say it. She said, because I want everybody to know everywhere I go was Dr. Adrian.
And in saying that, when we earn that doctorate degree, we carry so many people with us. So it's just not Dr. Adrian. You know, Dr. Adrian has a village behind her, and everybody in that village is so proud of Dr. Allen. And I can definitely say, when I got this degree, the first in my family, I could not have done this without my village. And they are all honorary doctorates, in my opinion, because they were in the fight. I mean, they were there. They were there. And so I carry this name with pride, because I'm speaking up and on behalf of my forefathers, my grandfathers, my grandmothers, everybody that had a vision and who prayed for something like this to happen in my family. I am the answered prayers of my forefathers. So this is not a title of arrogance. It is a title of humility and honor, that we carry this. And so, and I know you feel the same way, because when you talk about your mother, I can look at you and something different happens in your energy when you talk about mama.
Yeah. We have to think about this all the time. A lot of times people want to come and do things. And we should just do it. If I get to go home and do children's hour, they already know they're going to learn something about business. They're going to do the 3 parts of an attitude. You got to know what emotions are. You have to know that you have to listen attentively. Don't cut people off because you may not know what they have to say. Professional business communication, listen all the way. Stop for a second, take it in, then respond. Speak up, stand up straight, get this air in. I love that. So whenever you go somewhere and they call on you, you're not doctor. What you are is a helper.
Yeah.
You need to make sure that you can be a blessing to somebody else, because you don't know how many people pray for you and all those prayers that you needed. But there are a lot of things that we are connected with. Use your favors wisely.
Yeah.
Because we are in an arena that we are connected with a lot of people.
Yeah.
I never call a favor. Never call a favor, because at some point when you're in higher ed, you need experience and education. And some of this experience comes with a lot of pull. Never call them. That one time you need them, they know it's serious and they're going to come to your rescue.
Yeah.
Don't abuse what you have, and they'll not overuse what you have. You'll never know. Sometimes I go to places, I don't see anybody, something's come. Treat everybody well, treat everybody right, and treat everybody the way you want to be treated. There's no difference in anybody. We're all the same, just opportunity.
Yeah.
You can still teach the same way, whether they come in or not. They don't have to pay for your service. You can still talk to people everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's some more wisdom. You've done a lot. What would you say is your biggest accomplishment to date, if you had to pick just one?
If I had to pick just one, community service. I did a lot of community services in Wilmington and eye-opening experience, because it's one of the wealthiest counties in North Carolina, and I grew up in one of the poorest one. I always thought the wealthiest county would take care of the poorest better. And not to say they don't, it's a different type. So working in those communities, when you work with race relationship, it's a little different. So one of the comments I had was, we're glad you're working with us because it's good for them to see people like you. So I said, awesome. So what do you mean by that?
Yeah.
You mean me as a woman, me as a Black person? What do you mean by that? Because I walk in all circles. All of my friends are different colors. So are they relating better to me because I am in higher ed and I have access to the best information at every given day? Or they relate to me as a Black person? Because everybody here, they're all different colors. They all have the same needs. So whatever you mean, I'm going to take it in goodness and move forward. So working in the communities and seeing the needs. The need is the same against all colors. Perhaps the service may not be the same. That's not our thing. I think it's to help everybody that needs help, and perhaps. The crazy thing is, I know that this country is made up of 14% Black people. I cannot tell you right now how many people have doctorates. It's just, we have to determine that we're one, and then we're one culture, we're one country, we're one everybody. We have to work together to get on those pages. And I also know that if we can't understand finance and business, that we're never going to catch up.
Yeah.
So I believe that we as Black doctors need to work more in the communities. And the first 5, 6 years of our kids' lives, they learn a lot of stuff. We're not going to break them by talking money and finances to them.
Yeah.
My kids had a budget when they was kids, and I put on the refrigerator. I'm like, you can get anything you want. It's on that budget.
Mm-hmm.
All you have to agree. So they learn money, and they're too tight right now because they won't spend anything. They call and ask me to spend their budget. But we can do a lot because of what we know.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. So in the next 5 to 10 years, what's next for you? What do you see?
I think the next 5 or 10 years, I will favor in some type of education.
Mm-hmm.
I think that having more doctors is important. More is important. More is always important.
Yeah.
I think when we attain, we need to share as we go. We can never be at a point that, and I haven't met too many that say I have mine. It's it. It's a few.
Yeah.
But we have to share the knowledge. Education is liberating. And as we learn information, that's why I've known to be the best thing for me is always figure out a way to share it in a language and understanding where everybody can get it.
Yeah.
I can't stay way up here that I cannot teach. They won't get it, but these are the terms. I always say, you do this thing every day. Let's put some real terms to it.
Yeah.
And when you talk that way, it changes. We're not going to be stressed out because you're doing it right now. Let's talk about what you're doing right now. So bring it back to reality. I always say reality. What are you doing right now? And as we get more people in, and if all of us need to get together, especially with technology, and say, how can I help you? Oh, we did this. Not that we're helping you because the process is the process. That is the process. But with the information, let us help you and get through, and we help others. We're going to bring everybody along one way or the other. You don't come along screaming or you're going to come along willing. Life doesn't stop happening because you don't want to get on board.
Yeah, absolutely right. If you had one wish, what would that wish be?
My wish would be for everybody to be treated fairly. Not saying equally, fairly. Yeah. Equal is a frame of mind.
Yeah.
Because it would never be the same. But fair and equity, two different things. Because even if we had equity, you're never going to perceive it to be right. But can you be equitable when you can't handle it and you're not equipped to handle it?
Yeah.
So if we're fair, then we bring everybody up to where they can handle what they have, then perhaps we'll get a little bit further along.
Awesome. Awesome. We're coming towards the end of our time together. Unfortunately, again, we could talk forever. I do want to ask you, how has your affiliation with the Black Doctoral Network been for you? And what are you looking forward to in the future with us?
I think just having a group that you can rely on. And as my time frees up, I'm looking forward to more things with the Black Doctoral Network. I think that the affiliation in itself speaks volumes. Strength in numbers, and all of us are diverse. I can tell you, we can have the same exact thing, problem, degrees, and we're always going to think differently.
Yeah.
My philosophy is more than one way to be right and more than one way to be wrong, but collectively we create and we innovate. And that's the best way to move forward. We can put everything on a shelf and say, hey, we have 25 ideas, we can do one, but these 25 we can do later.
Yeah.
So if we work together, we can do a lot more than we do apart. And just the affiliation of knowing other people. And you say, oh, I saw calling Dr. Holmes, he knows about this thing real well. And you say, I'm calling Adrian, she knows about this. And it's just connecting our networks so we can work well together. We got the Black Doctoral annual conference coming up, and that's a great place to meet more people.
Yep.
And just say, hey, what are you doing?
Yeah. Well,
we use technology to our fullest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We are so thankful to have individuals like you be a part of the community, because you add so much because of your knowledge and your expertise, to what we want to do and how we support in the communities and support each other. So thank you again for joining me today. It has been a pleasure getting to know you and allowing you to share with our audience. If you would not mind, please tell our viewers and listeners how they can go to learn more about you.
You can find me at shawu.edu. I'm Adrian Allen. I'm also on LinkedIn, a big affiliation on LinkedIn, Dr. Adrian Allen. Please join my network, because if you look out there, I have lots of great people who will be willing and just able to help you. But Adrian.Allen at shawu.edu, Dr. Adrian Allen on LinkedIn, and Adrian Allen Consultant at gmail.com. And I definitely will get back with anybody who wants to get with me.
Well, listen, while you guys are over there following Dr. Allen and getting all this great information, just please take a moment and go and follow the Black Doctoral Network as well on all of our social media platforms. We would love to have you and connect with you as well. It has truly been a pleasure here on the Black Doctor Talk podcast. Again, we've had a gem in front of us, sharing, divulging, being so transparent and dropping, as I said, those diamonds. Thank you again, Dr. Allen. Until next time, guys, we'll be right here on the Black Doctor Talk podcast. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and go and tell somebody about Black Doctoral Network and the Black Doctor Talk podcast. Until then, be safe, be blessed. I'll see you then. Peace.